Welcome to another Skills First beginner workshop for developing your enterprising skills. I'm Kathleen Webb, the founder and president of Skill Squirrel, and it is my pleasure for Skill Squirrel to host this series for Biz Coach Services. Today is our fourth session, which is focused on assessment surveys and tools. There are countless online tools and quizzes that may help you discover your unique skills, talents, and abilities. Today's presentation will introduce you to ways of using these tools to help you identify opportunities that are right for you. Our presenter from Biz Coach Services is Vern Vitour. Vern has more than 35 years of experience providing small business coaching, training, and consulting. His many accomplishments include presenting small business, life, and career planning workshops for the cities of Toronto, Mississauga, St. Catharines, various colleges and universities, and many nonprofits and Indigenous organizations. He has also adjudicated and provided training for business pitch competitions, and he has held senior operations and marketing management positions with major franchises. Plus, Vern won a major national award in best practices for youth entrepreneurship training in Canada. Now, over to you, Vern.
Thank you, Kathleen. Today's topic is assessment surveys and tools. I'd like to take you through some links, Google links, and show you some of the tools that you can use to either as a trainer teach other people, or as an individual looking at your career choices in life. This will actually help you to think about what you're doing and to potentially move you towards your successes. So some of the topics we'll be talking about are planning tools, surveys, quizzes, personality profiles, introduction to knock, labor market information, etc. So there are countless online tools and quizzes that might help you to discover your unique talents, skills, and abilities. As well, there are some great agencies and career coaches that can offer focused free or for fee services. Some are good, some better. But our goal today is to introduce you to some basic free surveys and labor market information put out by the Province of Ontario, Labor Market Services, and Employment and Social Development Canada, known as ESDC, as well as the Canadian Job Bank, so that you can begin looking at career ideas for your job direction suited to your unique you. We'll also introduce links to discovering your personality style and how you can apply these to making better employment or self-employment decisions in your life. So we'll go through some planning tools and resources, some basic things. And as you can see, this is a skills and competencies taxonomy. So it's a summary chart that's actually on the NOC, National Occupational Classification website. And it's comprised of hundreds of descriptors used in the labor market to describe job requirements and or a person's characteristics. It's divided into several categories, including skills, personal abilities, attributes, knowledge, interests, work context, work activities, tools, and technology. I'll just quickly show you what that actually looks like on the website. So here's an example. Now, the reason why you could find this very useful is that if you're looking at career choices, or you're looking to do a certain job, or you're potentially applying for a job, and the job lists a number of different attributes that they're looking for, or maybe some of the job, some of the work expectations or the duties and expectations, we can actually go to the skills and competencies taxonomy, and you'll notice that there's these different abilities, different categories. So if I just click onto abilities, for example, there are cognitive abilities, physical abilities, psychomotor abilities, and sensory abilities. I can drill down. That's what's really cool about this. I can drill down. So if it's looking at certain physical abilities, there are a number of different descriptors. And if I look at the descriptors and I match them up to the job description that potentially I'm applying for, or in a career that I'm actually interested in taking. What's interesting is that I have a definition of what these different descriptors are. So you have an exact definition of what they are. So therefore, like for example, if I need multi-limb coordination, the definition of that is the ability to coordinate two or more limbs, such as two arms, two legs, one leg, one arm, while sitting, standing, or lying down. It does not involve performing the activities while the whole body is in motion. So now I understand what that is. So I either do have the talents and the abilities and the physical wherewithal to perform that function. And so if I go to a job interview, I can actually, I'm prepared in terms of what I can answer, what I can't answer. I can, if there is a deficiency with something in a job description that you know doesn't match, then I can actually say, well, this is how I can overcome it. So this is why it's really useful to be able to look at all these different aspects of jobs and positions. So there's skill competencies as well. And I'll take you to, you'll notice that there's a number of competencies. There, in fact, there's 9 skill components here. This is put out by the federal government through Service Canada or ESDC, and it's called Skills for Success, and they have 9 skill components. So by understanding these skill components, it'll help you to discover the level of competencies, skills, and abilities that you have to determine suitability for certain jobs or career choices. It also helps employers to better understand and determine a person's competence and skill level for certain jobs. So we'll just click through here and we'll go to this link. And so if I go to the different competencies down below, it actually has great descriptors. So as it relates to adaptability or collaboration, or the 9 of them, which is adaptability, collaboration, communication, creativity, and innovation, digital, numeracy, problem solving, reading and writing. If there's something in a job description that talks about any of these skills that are required for the job, I can actually go to these different skill components, and I can look at whatever it is that's asking in the job description. So if they're asking for somebody who knows how to plan and prioritize, I can click that, and it actually shows me what a potential employer might be looking for. So for example, in planning and prioritizing, maybe you need to define tasks, milestones, longer-term strategies to achieve goals, prioritize and choose an order of tasks according to your circumstances. Well, guess what? If you see that in the job description, then I can be better prepared. I can have examples of what I've done in my work past to demonstrate or to speak and be way more successful in a job interview. So we have also there's a guide on the federal government website, and it's actually about skilled trade sources. So if I go to this link, you can find your skilled trades. You can figure out what the oops, it went to the next slide. So as you can see, you can find your skilled trade, the top in-demand trades, financial support for programs, and how to join the skilled trade. So I'll just click one of these, and there's different industries that have different skilled trades, and there's Red Seal program designations, and you can get more information by going through this website. So top in demand, so it actually breaks in demand skilled trades by region. So you can actually do a little bit of research and understand trends and get a little bit of insight on labor market information as it relates to skilled trades. there's a couple of testimonial videos, but financial support. So you might be able to get financial supports depending on potentially your age, your employability, etc. And how to join skilled trades. So there's becoming an apprentice, step-by-step instructions on how to become an apprentice, some of the provincial and federal territorial programs, some of the pre-trades programs that are available, and some other resources. So you can see that the Red Seal program, it does exist right across the country. And so Red Seal endorsements are what a lot of people in construction, for example, go after, or different trades. And the reason is that you can, with a Red Seal endorsement, you can pretty well go right across the country, because some of the endorsements in the country are different by province. We are providing a link to some of the Canadian colleges and universities as it relates to different programs. But the key thing about universities and colleges, good research includes discovering your interests and passions, knowing what you want to do in life, and then researching the trends in labor market demands, which we'll get into a little bit later, and also researching information about courses and about courses at universities and colleges. And then you need to weigh the commitment, because there's cost and time involved. So you need to determine if it's a good long-term investment. You want to make sure that you get a good return on your investment, plus a good return on your investment of time. So by doing the proper research, we can figure out whether, you know, a certain goal or a certain path might be worth our while. We'll move into some different career quizzes and personality quizzes. There's all kinds of different tests, but some of them are personality assessments, skills in interests and inventory, value assessments, skills assessments, etc. So let's look at a few. So this particular link talks about skills and knowledge. And so we can explore careers by both. There's a really great form here I'm going to show you in 2 seconds, but this slide here shows you the skills. So it shows you a list of potential, you know, skills and experiences that we have and that we might enjoy doing. So what we want to do is go through a list of items and select and choose, and it will actually take us to, and by now, it'll actually give us 10 different career choices that relate to what you'd like to do. So again, there's a number of skills, a number of knowledge. So this is the actual site here. And so you can see that when you want to explore a job, here, this is really helpful actually. So the left column is skills, the right column is knowledge. So look at the items here and decide what you think you would like to do as a career. Maybe you already have the ability, maybe you already have the education, maybe it's something that you'd like to do, but at least you can explore what you think you might want to do. And by checking off all these different categories, the ones that actually work for you, right? So for example, if we look at service and care, so maybe we want to serve others, maybe we want to protect and enforce, maybe we like counseling. So what we do is we actually check off those items that really interest us. And then at the end, down at the end, we view the results. It'll actually give us a list of 10 potential jobs that you might want to apply for, which you can dig down deeper and explore and research a little bit more. I find this is a really good guide. The Government of Ontario has a short quiz. It's interesting because it's on aptitudes and abilities. So it's really easy to take. It's really quick and you get instant results. And what it does is it asks you questions about cognition, communications, dexterity, mathematics, and perception. So you can go online and you can take the quiz. Oops, it's not linking, sorry. I have to go back. Oof. Okay, so I'll go to here. And so this is an example of the career quiz. So again, it takes you through a number of different questions. It talks, like I said, it talks about cognition, communications, dexterity, mathematics, and perception. So it goes through each one of these, asks you simple questions, whether you find things easy or difficult. Then you go to the next category, and then you do all 5 categories. And then at the very, very end, it gives you instant results. And again, it'll make it'll actually suggest some potential careers that you can go after. Then there's also the job bank that does career possibilities. So again, same thing, but this one, you've got career possibilities as it relates to different jobs. So they're based on these quizzes on your interests, abilities, and work activities. And then in our next slide, we'll see that it talks about your intelligence, your learning styles, and your work values. So a little bit different. So again, there's a link here to the quizzes. And again, once you complete these quizzes, it'll actually make suggestions for different potential jobs or career choices for you. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. The first example I have is the personality profiles. It's called 16 Personalities. It's actually free. And it's a great tool for doing self-analysis and discovering our personality styles and the pluses and the minuses. So I'll just take you to the link and discuss with you the theory behind this program. So as you can see, there's 16 different personality styles. And if we so I'm just going to go to this link here, sorry. So we have different personality types. So we've got analysts, and then the analysts are divided into 4 different categories. Then we have diplomats, and the diplomats are divided into 4 different categories. Then we have sentinels, and they're divided into 4 different categories. And then we have explorers. And again, they're divided into 4 different categories. So most of Carl Jung's work is divided into 4 main categories where we're explorers, sentinels, diplomats, or analytical. So they've taken the 16 personalities, have taken those 4, and they've spread them out, and it goes into way more detail. So as you can see, analysts are divided into architect, logicians, commanders, debaters, etc. And then we have CRG Resources. This is actually a company I've been using for eons, actually. So there's different personality style indicators, and I'll just go to that website and I'll show you. Let's go here. The different assessments that are available. And I've been using CRG Resources since 1996. I've actually purchased and used through different training programs, actually hundreds of them. Most notably, the ones I use the most are the values preference indicator, personal style indicator, manager's job style indicator, sales style indicator, And by and large, the one I use most since I am an entrepreneurial coach is the Entrepreneurial Style and Success Indicator. And there's many more. So the point is that it covers the 4 different personality styles. So we are all blends of each one. Everyone is unique. But what's interesting is that the in-depth interpretations are very, very useful. For me, it's money well spent because we find out what our personality styles are, what our propensities are in terms of what we do well in, what we don't do well in, what our strengths are and how to capitalize on that, what our weaknesses are and how to overcome those weaknesses. And one of the most important parts that I find, in addition to the in-depth interpretations, is that it actually shows you how to collaborate with other people and how to style shift and develop better relationships with people by understanding their style and then shifting and collaborating and synergizing with them. I find that an extremely useful tool because it actually shows you the different personality styles, what they like, what they don't like, things to avoid when you're talking with those personality styles, how to identify them. So I find that I find that it's money well spent. Going back to the 16 personalities just for a moment, for the most part, it's free, but they do have paid services. So I'll just show you my profile for 2 seconds. And so my profile here, I've done it in the past. So I'm an ENFJ-A, I guess protagonist. It shows you that I have a little bit of extroverted, intuitive, thinking, judging, and assertiveness. I'm a little bit low on assertiveness. There you go. So you can see that it gets into different aspects, and you can actually pay for additional services. You can actually get profiles for dealing with friends, dealing with community. So there are some premium guides. I won't get into it. You can go ahead and actually, look that up yourself, but I'll send you the link. We'll send you the link with the workshop. So let's talk about NOC. So NOC stands for National Occupational Classification. NOC has been around since, I believe, 1996, and I've been working extensively through the Toronto Reference Library with clients who develop businesses and need job descriptions for employees, for potential hiring, for potentially putting together organizational charts and organizing HR manuals. So I've been working with this for years, and I'm very familiar with it. And I cannot believe the improvements that NOC has accomplished over the years. They've done a fantastic job of detailing the main duties of different jobs, educational requirements, and other useful information. So I'll open this up. We'll look at it just for a moment. I'll give you a sample, but there's over 10,000 job descriptions in NOC. And so if you're wanting to develop a job, this is the golden standard. This is what we use in Canada. And if you are looking for a job, this is fantastic because it shows you the main duties and it helps you to prepare for job interviews, and it helps you to prepare and or look and search for job career prospects. So you can type in any job and you can get labor market information a little bit later, but this is what the site looks like. And so you can actually search by job title, or you can search by NOC code. So there is a coding system. And in the last 2 years, they actually changed the coding system. It used to be a 4-number system, but now it's a 5-number system. And they've made huge strides. I am so happy to work with this and to show this to you. So the NOC, so let's say I'll just use, for example, I'll type in landscape as a potential title. So if I put in the keyword landscape, it comes up with a bunch of different positions, whether it be architecture science managers, landscape architects, landscape and horticultural technicians and specialists, painters, sculptors, other visual artists. I don't know why it's there, but somewhere it matches. Contractors, supervisors, landscaping, grounds maintenance, and horticultural services, or landscaping and grounds maintenance laborers. So if I aspire to follow a career path, I can actually look at landscape and ground maintenance laborers. So if I'm young and I'm just starting out, I can get a job in the landscaping business, and I can look forward to moving up, moving my career forward, and I can look up these different job descriptions and actually get an idea of what the job descriptions are, what education requirements I need, and what to expect. So it can actually help me to design or to put together or research the path that I would like to take. So I typed in the landscape here. I'm going to select landscaping and grounds maintenance laborers, and I get a NOC code 85121. So it's got an overall statement about what landscape and ground maintenance laborers do. It also lists the main duties, the employment requirements, and please note that it says some secondary school or a provincial license you might need to a license for applying chemical fertilizers, fungicides, herbicides, and pesticides. So that gives you that information. Now I can go online and I can do a search for getting that kind of license and how much it costs and where I can take it, etc. You'll also notice that you got all the different main duties, so you can decide whether this is a job that you want or not want, or this is something you'd like to work towards. But what's interesting here is you got an index of titles. So you have example titles here, but if I hit the index of titles, it actually give me way more jobs, like way more job postings or job categories. So again, like if I want to be a tree pruner or tree sprayer, that's part of the landscape function. So yeah, so that's really helpful. And then also there's exclusions here, which means that there are other possible jobs as it relates to landscape. So you've got nursery and greenhouse laborers, other trades, public works maintenance laborers, public works maintenance equipment and operators. So you might see, I often see in the city that some of the Department of Works have trucks, they trim down trees from, to stay away from the hydro lines, and overhead wires, maybe trimming old branches, maybe after a storm, there's trees on the ground. So again, these are different job descriptions, but it'll help you to plan for an interview or to figure out what kind of education and what I need to do in terms of working towards this career choice. So I find this very helpful. So now we want to we have a job description of something that we'd like to do. And so we want to look at labor market information. We want to find out what the trends are, whether the future prospects are good, what the education requirements are, and what the regional demand is. The job bank has a labor market information section, which is absolutely excellent. So I'll just go to it. Hang on a sec. Go to the page, and here we go. Labor market information. So we can choose it by, if I just go to the link, hopefully it'll open up. Thank you very much. Loading. There we go. So on the job bank, I can explore by occupation, or I can explore by wages, by outlooks. So in this case, I'm going to do it by occupation. So I'm going to pick, again, I'll pick the landscaping. And it'll open up a bunch of different positions. So I wanted landscape labor because that's what I looked at in the first place on the NOC code. And I'll hit landscape labor. And I'm not going to isolate the location. Maybe I'm wanting to look at the job prospects right across Canada. So I'll get more information if I just do a general overall search. So I'll hit search. and watch what happens. So now all of a sudden, I get all this information about landscape laborers. Don't forget, there's 10,000 job descriptions. So planning your career and exploring, and you have fun doing it. I mean, figure out what you like to do and then start exploring. And so this gives us a summary description. It tells us about on-the-job training programs, what the median wages are. It'll show you what the prospects are, how many jobs are available right now in Canada, and it talks about the skills required to do these particular positions. So if there is a summary up here, this little tab thing, so it's got summary, so that's what I got there. Then I can go to description. So that gives me the job description, which is similar to the NOC code. It's similar. It actually highlights it, but it's expressed slightly different. And so then I can go to wages and figure out, well, what does this job pay me? So I've got a list by province. This is why I like this view, because I can get the big bird view. And so in Ontario, the low end of the scale is 1550, whereas the low end of the scale in British Columbia is 1675. So if I go 1550 is the low, $25 is the high, and $18 is the median. Well, guess what? I can drill down in Ontario, and Ontario is divided into regions. So I can actually see what jobs are paying in the different areas in Toronto. And as you can see, if I live in the Ottawa region, the high end is $23, whereas if I live in the Toronto region, the high end is $27.81 an hour, and the low end is $15.50. So I expect that if I'm starting out as a novice, I'm going to be paid $15.50 an hour. And once I, get my wings and earn my spot within the company, I should be up to $18.50 within a year or two. And then as I become a senior with years of practice, I should be in the $27.81 range. Now, just as an interesting little tidbit, if you're working a 40-hour work week, I have a little magic way to figure out how much that is per year. And it just happens to work out like this. So if I take 1550 times 2, I get 31. I add 3 zeros to it. So 1550 pays $31,000 a year. 1850 pays pays $18 a year. Hang on one sec. 1850 a year. So 1850 times 2. I'm usually good at math, but anyway, times 2 is going to be 37,000 a year. So we're starting out at 30,000, 31,000 a year. The median is 37,000 a year, and I can go up as high as 2781. And I mean, there are people who get paid even more than that. And plus, if you're self-employed, you might even get more. So 2781 works out to 55,000 a year. So basically, to have a position just working in the landscape business, I can be paid anywhere from $30,000 a year to $55,000 a year. And I can go by region, I can go by province, I can get all this information. I'll just go back. So we've just looked at wages. Now we can look at prospects for these positions. So if we're exploring a position, we can actually figure out whether there's, like, you look at by province. So in Quebec, there's limited possibilities, limited in Yukon, good in Alberta, and good in Prince Edward Island, and moderate in Ontario. So they have a rating that actually says, here's your job prospects. And there's statements on labor market conditions over the next 10 years and a little detailed analysis, so you figure out how many people are working in the industry. So it's very good. And then we go to jobs, and it actually breaks jobs down by province. And then we can do it by region. So right now there's 79 job postings in Ontario, so we can actually view them. And we can break that down into region as well. So you can type in a city or what have you. And so we can look at, like, for example, there's a job here in Richmond Hill, lawn care worker. We can choose that. We can see when it starts. We can see there's 4 vacancies. That's interesting. And then it's seasonal employment, part-time leading to full-time. It shows you the benefits, the duties, right? So again, you get sort of a prospect, or you get to look, and you can actually apply on the job bank directly in these cases, right? And so they're potentially looking for students. See that? It's put out by Local Student Inc. So if it's a full-time job, it'll actually show you. So just go back and we'll go to the next category, back twice. And it looks like you look at requirements for this position. So employment requirements, licensing required, and then the skills needed, right? So it just breaks down. See, do you remember the earlier we had, we looked at the skills and knowledge. So it actually it breaks that down by position. So that's it. That's it as it relates to labor market information. Like I said, this got really way better. It's great to do research on these government websites. I find that the information is pretty darn good. And if you start looking up companies, I find this is in later workshops or whatever, but one little tidbit of information that I suggest you consider doing is learning how to do informational interviews as opposed to applying for jobs. Because 95% of the job market out there they're not advertised positions. So it's really interesting if you want to work for a company, show interest in them and go interview them. So in summary, as it relates to labor market information, doing good labor market information helps you to spot trends in the industry, to get timely information, to compare and see job requirements for different positions, and you end up making better career choices. So in summary for this morning, as it relates to the assessments and all the information we went over, the benefits of career assessments help you to understand others, helps you to understand yourself, help you to build collaborations and team building, help you to improve communication skills, and increase your productivity, because you'll get to the information you're looking for way quicker than scratching your head and wondering, where do I go? And you'll also end up at the end of the day making better career choices. So having said that, thank you very much for the opportunity to present.